Hello, it's Rich Rosen, and I'm going to do a little talk about our IVR setup, which stands for Interactive Voice Response. So I'm logged into Fastcall. This happens to be our version 4.33. It is September 2017. And let's start with, I guess, probably phone numbers. So phone numbers that are provisioned in the application can be assigned so that we can filter by provision numbers, and phone numbers can be assigned to users. And those phones will ring directly to a single individual user and have their own setup, which we cover in a different area. In this case, we're going to talk about phones that are assigned to a group. So let's take a look at this phone number that's assigned to a group. And within this phone that's assigned to a group, you'll see that we give the phone number, the capabilities. In this case, this phone does have capabilities for both voice and SMS. You'll see that the phone type does say that it's IVR. We give it a name. We do not support SMS today in a number that's assigned in a group, so this is actually going to be disabled. We're assigning this number to a group here. The phone number is available as caller ID, and then down here we say that we've enabled the interactive voice setup, and then we choose the IVR that's associated with this phone number. So I'm just going to delete out here. There's a search here, and we just pick the specific IVR. So there's a phone number that is assigned to a group and then associated to an IVR. So let's pop over to the IVR settings within Fastcall. The IVR settings are here. And well, let's actually just say we're going to create a new one. So when we're creating a new IVR, the IVR settings in our application really kind of start at the bottom and work their way up to the top. So as you're creating this, and it probably helps to sort of write yourself an outline first, but you're going to give each step in the IVR a name. So we can call this, well, as I said, we couldn't start at the bottom. So we're going to say transfer to voicemail. And then the message here might be your greeting for voicemail. Let's see, you can pick this message. These are recorded greetings. I'll show you that in a second. So transfer to voicemail. So I'm naming the action. I'm giving a recorded message, and then I'm going to select the action. In this case, and this is really kind of where all the action is, so I guess why we call it action. In the IVR, the options include playing a directory, so it's a directory of your users, transferring a call, and calls can be transferred to, so here, play a directory of the users. The options are how many times I want to loop around for the message, how long am I going to wait, and then the scope is, am I playing a directory of a specific group, which is really what you want. We're actually going to remove the org-wide option. So play the directory of the group, and then you pick the individual group. And this is going to play a directory of the users in that group. I'll show you the group in a second. So that is the action to play a directory. Another option is a transfer. When you're transferring, there's an option for a no answer IVR, which is important because if the primary action doesn't answer in a transfer, you want somewhere else to send the call. This could be another group, or it could be overflowed to a call center, but this is very helpful to have a no action IVR set up here. So if the first group doesn't answer, what are you going to do? The transfer scope, again, the transfer scope here could be group. We're going to actually remove worldwide. A specific single user could be the record owner, or it could be a single phone number. The single phone number is really very helpful for example, a call center that has a single phone number. So this would not be a user or a group in Salesforce. Let's talk about record owner. In this setup, we will look for the record owner to transfer the call. And that's really another example of where that no answer IVR is really very helpful, because if the record owner is not available, the no answer IVR should either say voicemail or transfer to another group. Because if the record owner is not available, and often that will be the case, where are we going to send the call? So that was the option for transfer scope. So menu, menu, and we're going to be able to add multiple menu items here, adding each row. Menu is press 1 for shoes, press 2 for hats, press 3 for socks, right? Creating a menu. And what else do we have here? Voicemail, we kind of talked about time-based routing. So time-based routing is also really helpful and really important for a bunch of reasons. One, because if you're not running 24/7, it enables you to send your call somewhere else during outside business hours. It also helps with reporting because if you are getting calls outside business hours and you're not using time-based routing, those calls will show as missed. If you are using time-based routing, it helps us determine that that call came in after hours and was not missed by a user. Um, One of the ways that we like to set up time-based routing, again, is to nest time-based routing. So you're always using your time-based routing first, um, and set that up here. So you, within time-based routing, we're going to ask for your time zone, and then your default route. So the idea is that with time-based routing, if you're nesting these, you always set the time-based routing up first. After hours, it might go directly to voicemail, and then during business hours, you're then going to set up what you want to happen during business hours. But the time-based routing is the first thing that would happen, and you're nesting these things together. So going through those options again, a directory, call transfer. Transfer could be to a group, to a phone number, to a single user, to a record owner. The menu, voicemail is pretty straightforward, time-based routing. As I mentioned, you're going to nest these things together, both by using your time-based routing and your no-answer IVR. And again, you generally are going to set this up sort of from the bottom actions first and then work your way back up to the top. So I'm just going to close this. You're going to create all the individual IVRs first, and then you're going to stack them in order together. Okay, I mentioned two other things. I talked about groups a little bit. We use groups for call transfer. You saw there's a few places in the application where we use group, but they're set up here, so I can create a new group. Groups have users. So the groups in Fastcall are using groups in Salesforce. But we're doing a little bit more. So we have our own custom object group that sits on top of the native Salesforce function for group. But here I have users in a group, and users in a group who are receiving calls have to have a phone to receive those. We call those ACD receivers. Those are the phones that you're going to receive for those users in a group. It's a little bit different than the user phone routing, where those options include simul ring or overflow. Users who are receiving calls on a user phone can have multiple phones. Users who are in a group are only going to have one phone. So in this example, I have soft phone. So both of these users are answering an ACD or IVR call on the soft phone. Recorded messages, you'll saw when we were setting up the IVR, we were referencing recorded messages as are managed here, pretty straightforward. You can add a new recorded message. So these recorded messages are both are used for IVRs, they're used for inbound voicemail, they're used for outbound voicemail drops. This is the single object where you're managing all of your recorded messages. So we had sort of phone numbers, IVRs, recorded messages. We just talked about groups a second ago. So right before I finish, I want to talk about our reporting. One of the things that we're able to do with our IVR and our ACD, which stands for automatic call distribution, is we're going to report when a call comes in and rings multiple users. So in this particular example, this is a DevWorks. There's not a lot of data, but you can see that this call came in and attempted to ring two different users. So in our data model, we have a call, we have a connection, we have an attempt. You can see this was the same call, the same connection, but two different attempts. So this was the first attempt and the second attempt. So we attempted this user, then that user in a call distribution. If this call was transferred, we would see another connection. So this was one connection, two attempts. We might see a call with multiple connections and multiple attempts, depending upon the complexity of what's happening on that call. So a call can be distributed via the automatic call distribution or transferred. And we're going to report what's happening within that call here in the report using our custom data model. So in this particular case, these are not Salesforce tasks. We are reporting Salesforce tasks, but we're giving you the granular reporting in our custom objects for calls, connections, and attempts. which you'll customize in your own org. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. Thank you for watching the demo. Please, if you have any additional questions, shoot us an email, help@fastcall.com, and we look forward to seeing what you're able to build.